Rotarian. I do a lot of talks for Rotary. Because I'm a member, because it's a 501c3, I made it clear that I would never charge Rotary for talks. Well, Rotary found out about this, and now I get a lot of calls for Rotary talks. But as it turns out, Rotarians are business leaders. They run organizations that need leadership and sales training. That's what I do, so there's a little bit of a back end for me, and I'm appreciative of that, but that's not why I do the talks for Rotary. It's a great way to give back to the community. I'm here today for a bunch of different types of give backs. We're doing a Rotary program for the Crookston Club. We're doing a couple of guest lectures at the university. And we're also doing a public program this evening at the auditorium.
Now, being from Michigan, you're no stranger to the cold and snow.
No, Michigan has a lot in common with Minnesota.
I'll tell you. And did you say which part of Michigan was that?
Well, I'm in Southeast, so I don't.
Okay.
We don't have the. Of course, we have the famous place called the UP.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, but you're not from there.
It's very glamorous up there when it comes to winter.
Yeah. This presentation that we're going to be focusing on is the one tonight at the Kiel Auditorium, University of Minnesota Crookston. Have you seen the facility yet?
I have not. We did a nice whirlwind walk of the campus, but I haven't actually seen the auditorium. I understand it's very nice.
I hope that you'll enjoy it as much as our community does, and we are very grateful to the University of Minnesota Crookston for bringing prominent people, speakers such as yourself, to the university and for the community. And as you had mentioned, for leadership training, we have so many people here that are international salespeople. I mean, from Crookston, Minnesota, via technology, the internet, and those that travel as well. But this isn't just for those who venture out beyond the city limits. It's for anyone, isn't it?
Sure. Well, if you think about the things that you would learn in a good presentation, Ray, you would learn the art of persuasion. You would learn the art of motivating your audience and getting people to do things that you want them to do. These are tools and skills that anybody could benefit from. So when I talk, I cast a pretty wide net, although I do very specific types of training. For example, I teach the 5 things that you should do at the beginning of any speech. Not everybody considers himself to be a speech maker, and yet these types of persuasive techniques are useful for anybody, from parents to people who are the presidents of their senior citizen condo association.
Something that, actually 2 things that struck me as, I think, catching is everything is a presentation, and really when you're in front of people, that's obviously a presentation, but even a simple handshake or a Merry Christmas is a presentation, isn't it?
And I'm presenting to you right now.
Right.
The 2 of us are presenting to your listeners.
And also the other thing, your quote, I trick people into becoming more successful. And I'd like to ask you the successes and experiences that you've had that brings you in front of people to tell how they can become successful too.
Sure. The genesis of the catchphrase, I trick people into being successful, is based in the psychology of speaking, in that a lot of times when people get up to give a presentation or speak to a group, they aren't authentic, they aren't natural, and because they're not natural, they're not persuasive, and because they're not persuasive, they're not convincing. So I bring to people's attention what it is that they're doing that keeps them from being natural. For example, when people speak in public, they tend to lower the volume. I know you'd be sensitive to that as a man in radio. You've got to maintain your volume if you want to be persuasive with people. It is possible to persuade in a softer voice, but there's something about energy and maybe pace. The average person speaks at 150 words a minute, and yet when we speak, we either speak much faster than normal or we speak much slower than normal. Why not just speak at your normal pace?
All right. Just one of the aspects that you notice and will teach people, and in order to make themselves more effective, not only in sales, I would imagine, in just everyday life, but can you give us an idea that is an indication of who you have presented to over the course of your career?
Yeah, sure. I have a lot of companies that I present to that people would know the names: Nissan, the United States Navy, Riovac, the battery company. The names go on and on. I get special joy from helping individuals, not companies. For someone to send me an email saying, I tried one of your techniques in a speech that I did this week and it worked like a charm. You know, one of the things I teach is if you're speaking to people, when you raise your eyebrows on your face, it opens up your face. You see how I'm doing that right now?
Yes.
It opens up your face and makes you so much more expressive. Well, it's a tip you don't hear about every day when it comes to speaking. And to get that kind of a feedback from a human being, not a corporation, makes my day.
All right, also, people tend to read speeches, and it sounds like they're read as well.
Yes.
And that would, I imagine, be a mistake as well. Training seminars, it keeps you pretty busy?
Yeah, I have 3 revenue streams actually. The live training that I do, the talks. I have produced now 50 information products. In fact, my pleasure to present you with my Present Like a Pro DVD is one of those products. And then I do quite a bit of consulting for people that want to engage me for campaigns, product launches, helping your entire sales team improve their presentations. It takes a bit more time than one day.
Now, would you recommend, we have so many industries here in Crookston right now, would you recommend that they attend tonight's seminar?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
It's sponsored by the university, so you can't hear me for less money than you can tonight.
All right.
It's free.
Worth every
Worth
penny.
every penny, that's right. Even I'll be there.
Okay. And what can we expect tonight's presentation? How long is your presentation? And then how long do you think, or what do you think you'll be able to present to these people in learning a different technique in their presentations, whether it be sales or just selling themselves?
Tonight I'll talk about a few things that you must do in the first 6 minutes of a presentation. I'll talk about some things that you must do in the last 6 minutes of the presentation, including something called the call to action, which is the whole reason that you would actually give a presentation. It's a very important piece. I also plan to do plenty of Q&A. I actually work in the round. You mentioned many people read their speeches. I don't even use PowerPoint.
Oh, really?
I haven't used it in 8 years.
Okay.
I walk out into the audience, I've got a wireless mic, and we engage them, and it's a funny program, and people get a chance to play with me a bit. We'll do all of that tonight.
Sounds like a lot of fun, and of course, key to success is making an effective presentation, and this will be open to the students of the University of Minnesota Crookston and the staff and faculty, as well as to the community at large. Your impressions of Crookston thus far, other than being cold?
It seems like a beautiful community. I had the pleasure of speaking and visiting Bakersfield and Visalia, the Central Valley in California, and it seems like you all have a lot in common with that in terms of the farming and the fertile ground here. Farmers and people in this type of a community are very centered, is my experience, and they're good citizens, they're good people, and I've met dozens of them so far.
Very centered because we're frozen to the ground. You mentioned California, and I don't know if you know this, but our chancellor, Dr. Fred Wood, is from Northern California.
I did not know that.
If you have not yet met him, I think you will be very impressed, and maybe you could learn some things from him as well as the rest of the valley here, because he is just a very engaging, very knowledgeable type of human being, and we're
Sure.
very proud to have him as our chancellor here, and we wish you well tonight. Should we arrive early?
Well, I think it's a good idea to arrive early and visit with the other people that are there. One of the good things about a program like this is everybody who attends is interested in being a better person. So you couldn't be with a better group of people.
All right. 6 o'clock is when it begins. Kiel Auditorium on the beautiful University of Minnesota Crookston campus. Again, Michael Angelo Caruso. If you don't mind, we'll take the liberty of attaching your website link to our Valley Talk page as well. We looked some things up on online as well, if you wouldn't mind us linking
Not
that
at all,
to our
promote
site.
away.
I sure do appreciate it, and we are very excited to have you, and